So, 2005, AP free response. This is no calculator because it's question 6. It says, consider the differential equation dy dx equals negative 2x over y. You should read this part and automatically know that one part of this question is probably going to be solved for y, right, with an initial condition, which means separation of variables. And I mean, we should think that just looking at it, but we read on. On the axes provided, sketch a slope field for the given differential equation at 12 points indicated. Use the axes in the book. I told you to use the cover sheet, put them right on that. Everything else should be on the back. This is not hard as long as you don't make a math mistake. And the graph of it is right. The graph is shown right there. And there's 2 points awarded this time. All right. You'll notice that there's a point for 0 slopes. So there is 1 point if you have these 4 values, 0, down the axis. So give yourself a point for that. And then you should have the non-zero slopes, all these. And again, make sure your slopes of -2 and +2 are sloped more than your slopes of 1 and +1. Again, if I do 1 point, you guys agree this is coordinate point 22? So I do dy dx at point 22. I plug that in, I get -2 times 2 divided by 2, and that's why the answer here is the slope of -2. I mean negative. Oh, 2, 1. Oh my gosh, I misread the point. I was in such a hurry. This is 2, 1 for a point. My bad. So it is, now I got this all screwed up. 1, -2. My gosh, send me back to algebra 1. 1, 2, 1, 2. I'm making mistakes like you guys now, getting in a hurry. How about that comes out to be -1? And then we graph the slope, which is downhill, 45-degree line. It's important that it's at 45. All right, it should be scaled. If you're not, you're asking them to mark it wrong. Slope field. Very quick, but you, again, don't blow it. Make sure you use the right points. Maybe, I can pretend to lie and say I did that on purpose to show you how to screw up. But I didn't. I just screwed up. All right. No. Letter B. Let y equal f of x be the particular solution to the differential equation with the initial condition f of 1 equals -1. Write an equation for the line tangent to the graph at 1, -1, and use it to approximate f of 1.1. Here's the thing I realized. I read this, I see the initial condition, and I'm not going to make the equation. It's asking for the equation of a tangent line. All I need is a point and the slope, right? It gives you the point, 1, -1. All we got to do is find the slope. Well, that's what the dy dx does. Yeah. You already know it. dy dx. Now let's see if I can use the right point this time. 1, -1. You guys agree that is -2 times 1 over -1? I think it's +2. So the slope at this point is +2. And again, using point slope form, we can quickly do this because we get m is 2. All right, the derivative, so I know m is 2. So give yourself a point for this equation. Y plus 1 equals 2 times x minus 1. I suppose that we also have to give credit to you guys who cannot, I suppose it's that with the y-intercept. We did it that way. But we don't want to do it that way. And then it says approximate value for f of 1.1. Well, that just means plug in 1.1 for x, right? If I do that, I get y plus 1 equals 2 times 0.1. Subtract 1 on both sides, I get y is -0.8. Give you a point. If you have 0, -0.8 as approximation for that point, give yourself another point. Okay. Last one, letter C. Find the particular solution for y equals f of x to the given differential equation with the initial condition f of 1 equals -1. Now they want y. All right. And again, we start from, and I'm going to move down the page, and we know we got to set this for the initial condition f of 1 equals -1. So you start here at letter C, and the first thing you have to do is separate variables. If you did this separation, give yourself a point. right here. Y dy equals negative 2x dx. All right? That should be on your paper. You got that, give yourself a point. If, all right, you have y squared over 2 and negative x squared, that's the antiderivative, give yourself a point. All right? Now, I always, concept of integration. All right, there's plus c. You have plus c. Give yourself a point. Now, you need both of these for the antiderivative. You need c, okay? So here we are. And if you've gotten to this step correctly, think about it. The world's easiest 3 points on the free response section, in my opinion. Right? Now, I come back. If there's no separation of variables, you get nothing. Doesn't matter what you do. Doesn't matter if you have plus c, okay? And if you forgot c at this point, you're done. Most you can get is 2 points. You separate the variables. If you forgot to c here and you have just this, you're done. You got 2 out of 5. You can't get any more, period. Now, the next point to be earned is using the initial condition. All right? Well, initial condition is right here. So they plug in -1 for y, and they plug in +1 for x. And if you do the math here, you're going to get c is 3/2. So then they plug in 3/2 for c and rewrite the equation right there. Now they also did another step here, which they kind of hide under the cover, right? It's y squared over 2 minus equals negative x squared plus 3/2. They just multiplied everything by 2. All right? Now, this is where you got to be careful. You got to solve for y. To get this last point is you solve for y. You can't write plus or minus, right? It has to be a function. Plus or minus would not be a function, do we agree? So you take the square root of both sides. If I do that down here, do you guys agree I get y? If I take that, and right now there's going to be 2 answers. You got to be thinking, well, I have to pick one of these answers. Well, listen, you know the y results in a negative value. So you had to pick the negative. So y equals, all right, and you probably don't need the sentence. I could just write the answer, all right? And if I write the answer, it's right there, y equals, and that's the last point. I would claim that this problem is fairly easy, and this is one we're looking to get 9 out of 9 on. All right, this is a problem that we should be doing relatively quickly and getting 9 out of 9 points on.